We've got some great speakers lined up, and we'll get onto them in just 1 second. So we are recording today's webinar, so other people who couldn't make it can view. Right, let's see who we're going to meet. So we're going to hear from Mandy from the Good Wash Company, and then Joe from Empower in North Wales, and Josh from Summit Good and the Truffle Bar in Swansea. And each speaker will have about 10 minutes each. So please, while they're talking, if you would like to, I don't know if you can see on your toolbar, you can give a little thumbs up or a like if you're enjoying what they're saying. And there's also a chat function, which you're probably familiar with by now. But if you haven't used it before on Zoom, as a little chat function, please put your questions to the speakers in there. And at the end of each session, we'll have about 5 minutes for questions. If we can't get to all the questions, then we'll try and reply later on by compiling answers to all the questions on our website. Okay, and we'll also have David Ellesmere from Superfast Business Wales. He'll be available at the end of the session, and he'll just give us a bit more information about the courses they offer. And right at the end of the session, we've got a bit of a surprise for you. We haven't done anything like this before, so we hope it's going to work, but I'll leave that as a surprise. Okay. If you would like to follow the different speakers today, we've got their Twitter handles there, the Good Wash Co and Empower BTC, and Josh is on Instagram with Summit Good and the Truffle Bar. Okay, and we know there's lots of other activities going along around Wales with social businesses who are adapting to the crisis. There's been an app developed called the Insight app to help people in a safe social media space. There's wellbeing diaries and even breakdancing training. There's gym sessions online. So I hope you're going to enjoy what we've got picked out for you today. So I'd like to introduce Mandy from the Good Wash Company. Hi, Mandy.
Hello.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Okay. Mandy, could you tell us a bit about the Good Wash Company, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Good Wash Company was established in Barry in 2018, so just coming up to 2 years. And it was launched to do two things, basically. The first thing was to establish a really luxurious, high-end Welsh brand with the Welsh language on it. You know, a brand that would sit in the finest of shelves from Port Talbot to, you know, LA. And it was made from the finest cruelty-free vegan ingredients. But the second part of the brand, which was of equal importance, was that it did social good. So every time you have a wash, you're actually doing good at the same time. So hence the name Good Wash. If you're going to have a wash, have a good wash. So that, you know, so we came up with that.
Wow, that's great. And it's a really lovely, like you say, high-end, luxurious, ethical product, isn't it? So could you tell us a bit about your online presence then, Mandy?
Yeah, absolutely. So we launched, the first thing we did was launch the website. And neither of us knew or had any experience of websites before. You know, when we were speaking to people, they were using language such as like SEO, and we were like, I've got no idea what you're talking about. You know, it was an absolute baptism of fire.
Yeah.
And we launched a WordPress site, and then we used a WooCommerce like pay application.
Yeah.
Just because that's what we were told to do. And I think the benefit of having a WordPress is that you can add different plugins. So if you wanted to do bundles and things like that, you can tailor it to your needs. You know, and we're happy with it so far. So yeah, that's going really well. In terms of social media and marketing, I think I'm one of the rare people that I've never really used Facebook. I don't have a Facebook account. So that was a bit of a barrier actually when you're launching online and you don't know how to use Facebook. But everything that we've done so far, all the growth that we've had has been organic, and we've literally just used Instagram and Twitter. So we don't really use any other social mediums apart from Kelly, my co-founder, has got a personal Facebook account and we do a little bit of promotion on there, but it's mainly we just use the two, Instagram and Twitter. And we don't pay for any advertising or anything. It's all organic.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay. And so, how does it happen with when you take deliveries online? Then, how do you manage the payments and the delivery side of it? Is it just through WooCommerce still?
Yeah, everything we do is through WooCommerce, and we use the PayPal application for that. But I think what's interesting during COVID is that, you know, we started 2020 with great aspirations of growth. 60 to 70% of our business is trade, and
Yeah.
obviously, and we had quite a strong growth trajectory for 2020 on trade. But obviously, since COVID's happened, all the trades completely stopped. 60 to 70% of our sales completely stopped at the end of February. So we had to, quite sharpish, figure out how we're going to absorb those sales online and drive the sales online. So yeah.
So have your online sales gone up then? Sorry.
I've forgotten the question you asked me. Go on.
Sorry. It's just, have your online sales increased then during the
Absolutely. So we've managed to not only stay on track of our 2020 growth target, we're actually exceeding them just by online sales only, without any trade. So, you know, it's gone from 40% of our business to 100%, if not 110, because obviously we're exceeding it, which is great. And, you know, in order to do that, it's been a complete focus for ourselves. And obviously we were in Barry, and now we've split. So we've got an operational team in Conway in North Wales who are doing all the making. So they make the shampoo bars, the soaps, the dog soaps, the bottle and label. You know, we've had 300 volunteer hours in Conway over the last couple of months as well, which has been fantastic. So yeah, so it's all hands on deck really, but it's creaking a bit, the ship's creaking a little bit, and we're looking at how we can grow the operational side a little bit more. And that's under review at the moment, but no, it's all going really well. And I don't know whether you want me to share three of the things that we did during COVID to help the sales growth. Would that be of interest?
Yes, please. That'd be great. Yeah.
Just quickly, I've just seen you've got the screen up there. What I said in the beginning was, you know, we wanted to do two things. We wanted to create a high-end luxury brand, but also had a social conscience and genuinely did good in every aspect. So we didn't just give 2% or 5% of our profits away. You know, on a Tuesday, we have dementia groups in, bottling and labeling. On a Friday, we have disability groups in, making soap. We buy from social enterprises. So all the way through the brand, from start to finish, where we reinvest the profits, it's kind of good all the way through. And that slide that you can see there is our social impact combination for 2019. So
that's fantastic, and I think it's really good for other social businesses to see how they can show their impact. That's really good. Yeah.
And this year so far, obviously, we work with a dirty vegan, Matt Pritchard, and his dog, who he adores, called Lemmy. And we've already this year we've helped save about 40 rescue dogs from the dog meat trade with the sales of our dog wash. So
that's brilliant.
Even this year so far, if you're looking on our social media, you'll see that we've donated over 10,000 wash donations to every single NHS in Wales. And
do you want to tell people a bit about the Diolch bar?
You can. Diolch. So, Diolch is thank you. Diolch means thank you in Welsh. And as soon as COVID happened, we wanted, obviously, as a social enterprise, we wanted to do something that would help make a difference. So we did three things. The first thing is we immediately reduced the price of our hand sanitizer, our hand soap, and our hand wash, which would enable more and more people to have hand sanitizer, hand wash and hand lotion. So we kind of went the reverse of supply and demand business model, where most people put their prices up. We made it accessible to everybody to have our products. That was the first thing. The second thing we did, and I brought one along, is every time somebody bought a hand soap from us, which is Sebon Dar, which means good soap, we gave them a Diolch bar. I don't know if you can see that there. And there's a name there. So you could give this bar to a local nurse, a local healthcare professional, postman, police officer, you know, whatever key worker in your community that you wanted to say thank you to, you buy a soap and then you get a deal card, and that's still running actually at the moment, so you can continue to do that. The third thing we did was we collaborated with the Gower Gin Company, who were also donating thousands of hand sanitizer to the NHS all over Wales. And we created a thank you box, so you can have a hand lotion, a hand sanitizer and a soap, and you can give it as a gift. And then all the profits from that directly goes to help support the NHS workers. Yeah, and then with all of that combined, through our online sales and through the support of our customers, we managed to donate, I think it was last weekend, or maybe the weekend before, we hit the 10,000 target of wash donations to the NHS.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's brilliant. Carl, is there any questions coming through on the chat for Mandy, or have you got any questions?
Help if I remember to unmute myself, wouldn't it? There's not many coming through just yet, but Keith has got a couple of questions for you. He's wondering how many people that you employ within Good Wash, and also asking if you think it's going to be difficult to reintroduce the higher prices that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I answer that question, I just wanted to point out, on the screen there, you can see Maisie Powell, who's one of our fur founders, who's a Westie. You all see that. And Maisie was key in developing our dog wash products. So our strapline is skin, hair and fur, because obviously all our products are for humans and dogs as well. So just wanted to make that clear, in case anybody's wondering why the dog was on the screen. Oh, sorry. Right on cue. Sorry, I think I might have a delivery. Yeah, do you know what? We're looking at that. Shall I just go and grab her? Or can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, it's fine, don't worry.
Actually, we're actually discussing that now, because obviously everything's price sensitive at the moment, and our trade orders have completely stopped. So we're looking at when trade does reopen, which is potentially December, you know, maybe after Christmas, who knows, what's our customer need going to be then? Are they going to be really, really price sensitive, and are we going to need to look at our strategy and maybe offer a lower price brand, because, you know, money's going to be a big issue, isn't it, moving forward?
Yeah.
What was the second part of the question? Sorry, the first part was...
I think Keith was interested in knowing the sort of scale of your operation. So he's asked how many people you employ.
Oh, right, okay. So
I could maybe piggyback something onto that as well, linked to it, part of what you were saying about the operational structures. With your move to selling more online, aside from the employment side of things as well, it'd be interesting, I think, for people to get an idea of what the things were that you had to consider in restructuring your operations to be able to deliver more online.
So we currently employ 5 staff members. We did have some, we do work with a lot of volunteers in the community as well. And we do have some part-time staff. But as soon as COVID started, we needed to go to skeleton staff. The operational unit closed. So we've literally moved all the stuff to Kelly's family home in North Wales, who has, in fact, there's an article in Grazia magazine coming out this week which explains and shows you the images of Kelly's living room with her mum and her dad, her bedroom. She's still sleeping under a Michael Owen Champions League final quilt or something, she was saying, but all the house has been taken over by soap, you know, and bottles, and all the orders are coming from the house. So in terms of the operations, we had to set up quite sharpish some partnerships with Royal Mail, DHL and different courier services, who, you know, they've now got to know the home really well. They've got to know Kelly's mum and dad, and they kind of come in twice a day, and it's a bit like an operational unit. So I do apologise to Kelly's mum and dad for literally taking over their house during COVID. Yeah, so as I say, that's working at the moment, but any further growth, I think the ship's going to start creaking. So, well, it is creaking, it's probably going to snap. So we need to look at, you know, moving out with this and what's the next steps for us.
So do you think these changes are going to become a permanent change for Good Wash? Do you see this as being an important element to the future of the business now?
Absolutely. It was always going to be a focus, but I mean, as I said at the start of the year, we were in final talks with John Lewis, we were in final talks with Harrods, and we were supposed to be launching our first retail store in June. That's still happening. We're launching in August now, but Harrods and John Lewis, obviously nobody knows what's going on. So our focus, as I said, to hit target or exceed target has to be all online now for the foreseeable future. So it's fantastic that it's happening and we're able to, to keep going. And I think this will be a really strong part of our business moving forward. And then when the trade reopens and the shop launch happens, that's going to be another arm that we would, hopefully will be really successful. But we're learning more each day, like we've set up a MailChimp newsletter, which is something we've never done before. We're setting up, the pop-up boxes on the website, sign up to our newsletter. Right, yeah. It's standard things, but if you don't know it, you're learning, and it's every day's a school day.
I think that's really helpful for others, on a similar journey, to hear from you as well, that they can go through the same things. And I think you mentioned at some point about the customer journey as well, as about thinking about your website and keeping it nice and simple for the customer.
Yeah, I think the good thing about myself and Kelly being founders is that Good Wash is very much ourselves. So when we speak, we don't have to think about what voice is the Good Wash brand, because it's very authentic to who we are. We want to do well, we want to improve lives of animals and people, so it's quite easy for us. But when we launched the website, which we did in 2018, it was the first website we did. And then as founders and new startups, you tend not to look at your own website because you're too busy doing everything else. So what COVID made us do is actually have a look at the website for the first time in probably a couple of years, because we're too busy to look at it, and actually look at it from a customer point of view and go through the journey. And you realise how many barriers there are. Even like simple things like making it easy for somebody to put a product in their basket and add another one. Like that was so hard to do. I don't know how we ever got any sales in the first place, but we've changed that now, and we've gone through the customer journey, and we've added the search engine optimization words, SEO, which I now know what that means. And so we've added real life images. So when you look at the website now, they're images that we've taken as a brand, so that it captures who we really are.
Yeah.
And those images from the website are carried across to our social media pages and all the PR that we do. So if you look at an image, I mean, I don't know, I'd like to think that people think, oh, that's a Good Wash image. So we're starting to get our own brand voice and our own brand identity out there.
Yeah, it's a lovely website if anyone wants to have a look. Well, thank you so much, Mandy. We better move on now, but that's brilliant. So let's go up to North Wales then.
Hi.
Hi, and can we see you, Joe?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. There we are, Joe. Great. Could you introduce Empower to us then? So now we move from a business kind of that's selling products into a business that's principally about services. Could you tell us a bit about your business?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as the name suggests, it's very much around empowerment. We very much believe that everyone has massive potential, but not everybody realises that or has the opportunity to realise that. So all our services are based around people realising their potential, but also to be the change for themselves, to take back control, make their own decisions and make those positive choices. So we deliver ILM qualifications, so they're accredited leadership and professional development courses. And alongside that, we do psychometric testing and mentoring, and it's all very much around empowering individuals and teams to realise that potential. We do an awful lot around mental resilience and building their self-worth and confidence.
That sounds really great. Could you tell us a bit about your online presence then and how that might have changed?
Yeah, so prior to lockdown, we were delivering courses across North Wales in loads of community locations, schools, colleges, universities, in partnership with Remploy, the Job Centre, and also private sector organisations who wanted to develop their teams and their individuals. And of course, COVID came along and lockdown came, and that put an absolute hold to everything we previously did. So we kind of had two choices at that point. We could have put the company to sleep, I guess, for a period of time and just hope that lockdown would be eased and be able to get back to normal. Or we take an opportunity to look at what we do really well and how can we transfer that online. So one of the first things we did was we revisited what we do, and we know that our participants achieve 3 main outcomes, and they are improved mental health, feeling more empowered to make decisions, and a greater satisfaction in their work or their education and current role. We also know that the one-to-one sessions we do as part of our courses, so we do classroom-based sessions, then after that we do one-to-ones with everyone. That was the bit that people got an awful lot of value from, probably because they had the opportunity to talk through their own skills and ambitions and then put a personal action plan in place. So we thought, well, actually that's relatively easy for us to move online because the psychometric tests we use is already an online tool. And to do one-to-one meetings, you don't have to be in person. As we know from this now, you can communicate to people all over Wales, if not the world, through Zoom and other technology. So we've set up online mentoring sessions, primarily to support small business owners, social enterprises, charities, community leaders. And we felt that was important because they're doing such great work supporting their communities, but who are supporting them? So we've really targeted individuals through that.
Oh, that's great. And so how does it work up for you to set up your online mentoring sessions then? Is it through Zoom as well?
Yeah, so we chose Zoom for a number of reasons. Probably the first one is it's free, so there's no additional cost for us to run the service. But it's super easy to schedule meetings, and you can pre-populate it into your calendar and email that calendar link to someone so you know they've accepted it and definitely going to be there. We're finding the connection is super stable as well. So sometimes on Skype, the connection drops in and out. Also on Teams it does, but this seems really stable. I think the biggest benefit for us is that we could share screens a bit like you're doing now. So we could bring up their psychometric report, we can bring up their pre and post mentoring forms, and they can see them side by side, and they don't have to faff around with the technology from their side. We can kind of manage that for them. So they've got all that time and space to talk about any issues and challenges they're facing.
Wow, I mean, that sounds amazing. And I'm sure your services must be so much in demand now at the moment. So, and how do you get referrals, or how do individual customers find you if you have individuals?
So we've initially gone through some key organisations. So we were fortunate to get 30,000 funding from the lottery to be able to run these sessions, and that enables us to deliver sessions to 120 people. So they would receive 3 75-minute sessions over a 6-week period. So it's any lottery funded organisation, any organisation linked to Social Business Wales, so I guess any of the guys who are on here today and are interested, Sported, and Avow, which is our local volunteer centre. So that's who we've primarily targeted to start with.
Right, that's great. And what kind of results are you getting then? Can you meet demand, or do you have capacity?
Yeah, so this week's been our busiest week. So we've delivered 15 different sessions this week, so about 20 hours of mentoring, and we've also done a focus group with 5 of the participants as well. Wow. But we do have capacity at the moment. So if anyone's interested, I would very much urge them to get in contact with their local officer first of all, and they'll be able to refer them on and show them the process. We've got about 26 people signed up at the moment. So we've delivered about 75 hours of mentoring. We've also made a £5 donation per mentoring session to our local food bank. So that's about £300 we've donated so far. And obviously we want to increase that more and more. The feedback's been extremely positive. You can see one of the testimonials on the screen there.
Yeah, so tell us a bit how it might help an individual then.
It's I think it's just giving people that time and space to take a step back and really think about where they're at now and where they want to be. And we've had a real mix of issues. Some of it has been historic stuff before lockdown. People are realising they've never dealt with a particular issue, whether it was work or in their personal life, which is very much affecting their ability to cope now. So that's really helping. Other people are, particularly from a small business point of view, they're really grappling with, how do I adapt to this new world? Do I shift stuff online? Do I just try and do more of what I was doing before? And I think the most important thing is people are realising they really need to look after themselves. And it's very difficult at the moment with us all working from home. That balance between work and home very much gets blurred. But our message has been very strongly to everyone that if they don't look after themselves, there would be no organisation, and they won't be able to support their communities. And people are really taking that on board and starting to really adapt the way they work, which is great.
Yeah, and I guess you must be maybe saving costs on all the travel as well.
Oh yeah, massively. I mean, it has reduced our overheads significantly. So while we're delivering courses, we obviously have to pay for ILM accreditation per individual as well. We're paying for facility hire. We provide lunch and refreshments, so there's none of that cost as well.
Yeah.
So our cost now is staff time and the psychometric tests. So it's very low cost for us.
Oh, that's good. Carl, have you got any questions coming in for Joe about their service?
I will get to grips with unmuting myself eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, so Keith is interested about the practicalities of your delivery. So wondering if it costs the people who are accessing your service or if it's funded, and also regarding the actual delivery, whether you make use of any self-employed people to deliver the training and mentoring.
Okay, so first of all, in terms of how they're funded, so the 30,000 we've received from the lottery is covering the cost for the 120 people that we are targeting through those key organisations, so Social Business Wales, the Lottery, Sported and the Volunteer Centre. Outside of that, we're having ongoing discussions with Remploy. Remploy was one of our key partners before lockdown, where they put an awful lot of participants through our courses. They are very interested in paying for some of their clients now to access that online mentoring, so that will be a sale for us. And also it's an open sale for anybody else as well, so we do sell these sessions. In terms of staff and employment, there's 3 of us in the team. So there's myself and Dawn who deliver the online mentoring. We do have somebody else who's kind of like a freelance person. So at the point where Dawn and I are at full capacity, we will bring that individual in as well. And then we've got Rhiannon, who really drives our digital marketing and our social media.
Great. Now, Geraint's asked a question which, interestingly, we spoke about yesterday, and it's something that seems very relevant when people begin to move their services online, is that geography fails to really play a limiting factor. So Geraint is asking if your service is now being delivered across Wales now that you're online?
Yeah, the short answer is yes. And I sort of wanted to mention as well, we've invested heavily in staff development and training. So my colleague Rhiannon is doing some digital training with a company called Click Convert, and it's very much around looking at our website, looking at Google Ads, Google Analytics. And one of the things she's looking at is where our Google Ads go to. And originally it was North Wales. We've now broadened that out to the whole of Wales, but also the Northwest and into Birmingham, Shropshire, that area. But I think as we grow, it will go across the UK and potentially internationally.
I think that's quite a relevant point as well, because the whole, I imagine David later on will be able to add more to this about sort of the whole advertising, Google Ads and the whole dimension of that. But tied into that, what would you say has been sort of some of the biggest learning points that you've been through in taking your service online?
I think some of the big learnings yet to come, because the online mentoring in a way was very easy to put online. What we weren't sure of though was whether it would have the same impact over Zoom as it does face to face when you've built a relationship with somebody in a classroom over 2, 3, 4 days. But we know that is having the same impact. What's going to be more challenging is moving our whole courses online, because of the nature of the interactive activities we were delivering in the classroom and that interaction and discussion between the participants. It's how do we create that same feel and people feeling comfortable and sharing those sort of personal experiences. So I think some of the learning is still yet to come on that side of it.
There's a great deal of innovation yet to come around that side of things as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
Keith is also asking here about how long your courses and your sessions are.
So we do 3 75-minute sessions, and that's delivered over a 6-week period. So pretty much every 2 weeks, we meet the same individual. The first session's very much looking at the psychometric report they fill in, and some of the initial challenges they're coming up with. And then at the end of the session, we send them back what's called a post-mentoring form, which is a summary of the discussion, some of the actions they've kind of said they're going to take. And we then use that as a basis for the next 2 sessions.
Oh, another one just come in from Reese. Are there physical barriers collecting wet signatures, etc.? How do you overcome these?
We've just been accepting digital signatures. So if people have got electronic signatures, which they can just put onto the documents, that's fine. We've taken a view that if it's come from somebody's email address with the attachment, then that is good enough verification that it's them signing up to the program.
I suppose tied to that, have you had to adapt any of your working policies?
Not yet. Maybe we should. We've got a board meeting on Monday, so perhaps the board will ask me those questions. Yeah.
With this, yeah. That seems to be all the questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. That was really great to hear. I'm sure everyone appreciated that. Right, so goodbye from North Wales, but don't go away. Right, let's go over to Swansea now then, and let's see if Josh is there. Hi, Josh.
Very Eurovision now, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Hi, are you okay?
Hi, yeah, unfortunately I seem to have lost, oh, here we go. Okay, Josh, you okay?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah, so not in the poly tunnel today as during our rehearsal. So maybe could you introduce Summit Good and the Truffle Bar for us, please?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not in it today. So I was sweltering this morning in it, so I decided to come home. So we have an organisation called Summit Good, which is a community interest company, and it's quite simple, really. We set up to do something good, and we do a wide range of different things, but specifically to do something good for our health, communities, and the planet, which is very wide. So that runs a whole bunch of different initiatives. We have a men's shed. We have 3 acres of growing space where we grow veg, and we kind of run support groups down there. That space incorporates 6 other small businesses. So we have a girl doing organic flowers and a sauerkraut business and a florist alongside the flowers, and some honey and other bits and bobs. But our real initiative, our real aim for Summit Good is to inspire other people to do something good. So rather than us growing as an organization, having lots of employees, we want to help and empower other people to do their ideas and their Summit Good, you know?
That's brilliant, yeah. And what about the Truffle Bar then? If people can't guess.
So the Summit Good is almost like a fruit bowl, set up to kind of start and help these different fruits, go with the analogy. And the Truffle Bar was one of our first projects or first little businesses. And it was just about doing something good for health and the planet. So we make these little chocolate truffle bars, and we wholesale them to cafes and restaurants. And they're like plant-based, sugar-free, they're free from all your allergens, your nuts and everything, gluten, those sort of things. And we've just set it up separately as it's a kind of standalone, small, as a limited company. So my sister's taken that on, and she's running that as a separate thing now. So our plan really is to kind of empower and get things going, and then give them a kick out the door, if you will. We don't want to be, because I see a lot of companies setting things up and then wanting to kind of hold on to them a bit. So we want the Truffle Bar to run on by itself, and we want other people to run with their ideas. So yeah, the Truffle Bar's doing really well now. It's just gone online, and she's doing deliveries through a Squarespace platform, and just started doing wholesale again now. Shops and cafes are starting to reopen a little bit.
Oh, good. So you're principally using Instagram, aren't you, for as channel for the promoting these brands? Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about how you do that then?
Yeah. So we solely, pretty much solely use Instagram for any advertising and getting our message across. With regards to Summit Good, for us, it's really important to get across our why we exist as a company, rather than what we're trying to sell you. So, for example, we like to take people on journeys on Instagram. So we'll run campaigns. So at the moment we're doing, like, I'm swimming in the sea every morning for 1,000 days. And because it's good for your health, and it's good for your mental well-being to get out there and do something you don't want to do and meet other people. And so we've always found it quite successful to kind of do something daily with Instagram, and on stories, which is like a 15-second video, and to take people on that journey with you. So when we set up our growing space, we kind of post just a little snippet every day, and people can feel like they're on that adventure with you. And for us, it builds kind of a loyalty and a different kind of customer. So for example, we sell veg bags, and I don't think I've ever once advertised that we sell veg bags, because we've got however many, we've got about 20 or 30 people just locally who get the veg bags off us. And when we've got more veg bags to sell, we'll go to them and say we've got some spaces, and they'll tell their friends and families, because they're so loyal and because they love what we're doing and our why, and they're on that journey with us. So yeah, we'd rather have less customers but are loyal, so when we want more, they can help us, you know.
Yeah, it saves time and money, doesn't it, if you've got loyal customers? That's great. Okay, and what about the Instagram profile of the truffle bar then? Can you compare it to that?
Yeah, so that's slightly different, because the aim there is different. With Summit Good, we're trying to get the brand and the message across and inspire people to do something good. But truffle bar is about selling products, so it's a regular show, nice pictures, very aesthetically pleasing, but regular again. So when it's close to delivery day, Rachel will constantly be posting on stories, just to be at the forefront of people's minds, because people are constantly flicking and scrolling, and everyone's got a nice picture on Instagram. So you've just got to be pumping out. Unfortunately, it's a horrible thing to do. I hate it personally, because I get sucked into it. But if you're a business and you've got a product to sell, sometimes you've got to be on these things constantly, because there's so much content flying around.
That's a really good point, actually. I understand totally what you mean. You don't really want to be out there doing it, but you know, you kind of got to for your brand. And how easy would you say it is to sort of manage Instagram accounts? People who maybe haven't tried it before. There may be people in the audience who haven't.
Yeah, it's really easy. For us, it's how can we say this? You can spend as much time as you want on it. I am trying to be super strict with it, so I'll be very strict to just posting 1 or 2 15-second videos a day. It will take me, it's a minute or 2 minutes of my time max. But actually, as an individual, you can get really drawn into it, and I can find myself sometimes going to post a picture on there, and I can waste an hour of my time, and it's a complete waste of my time. So you got to be real disciplined if you're going to get on these social platforms, because they'll suck you in.
I think that's a really good point, Josh. Actually, I'm going to write that down. Discipline. Set yourself a timer. Okay. Okay, great. Maybe could you tell people a bit about the swims? When you joined recently by a news reporter on one of your swims.
Yeah. I think it was just after we hit the year mark, and just in January, before all COVID happened. And BBC Breakfast came and did a morning with us at Langland, and he jumped in the sea with us. So we had that was really, really great for us, on a little publicity standpoint. But like last week, I went down to Langland, our local beach, and I took a 15-second video of loads of rubbish. So there was like smashed wine bottles strewn across the beach, and I was kind of half asleep. Took this kind of grouchy video, oh, nice one, litter everywhere sort of thing. And my phone died, and I came back home in the evening, and it had 100,000 views and 1,000 shares, and BBC Wales are like, can we use your video? and it's always like that thing. I was never trying to publicize it or go viral or get lots of views and shares, but it's the one video which does get loads of views and shares, you know. I thought, damn, I should have mentioned something about our business in there.
Yeah, that's great. Maybe you could tell us a bit about setting up the websites then. So if people wanted to quickly set up a platform where they can sell things, whether it's maybe vouchers for a future service or something. You said you used Squarespace. Was it easy?
Yeah, so I personally set up our Squarespace. I haven't got any background in IT or anything. And then actually recently we got a friend of ours who is a web designer. She offered to have a look at it for us. And the great thing with Squarespace is you can invite a third party to come in and kind of tinker with your website. And she just changed the whole, she did like 5 minutes worth of things and it just made it so much better. But initially setting up a Squarespace to sell product and e-commerce is really, really easy. And like Mandy was talking about earlier, it's so important that you take away any barriers for purchasing. You need to make it so easy for people to buy your product if you send a product. So for truffle bars, it's important to us that people can pay with Apple Pay immediately and they can just thumbprint and purchase your product. Because I've been on a few food websites recently and they ask for you to email them and they'll get back to you with prices. And that's like, oh, I'm never going to buy that. If you want me to email you first, no chance. So yeah, just make it really, really easy for people to buy your stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Have you got any questions for Josh coming through at the moment, Carl?
Hi there, Josh. Good to see you again.
Hey,
On the subject of social media, I rue the day you introduced me to TikTok, but that's a whole other thing which I'll put to one side. You've mentioned about Squarespace. Can you just clarify for people what Squarespace is?
Yeah, Squarespace is it's just almost like a template website. It will give you loads of different templates for you to create your own website. There is scripting in it, but you don't have to do it. There's the basic templates on Squarespace are really easy to use. You just go and type in your information where theirs is, and you can, for the truffle bar, we just set up one page. So it's just a scrolling page, and we're only selling truffle bars, so we don't really need much on there.
So I guess within that, because there's a number of different providers out there that you can go to for setting up and managing your own website. So what tipped the scale for you in using Squarespace over anything else?
We've used a few in the past. We really like Squarespace, Squarespace's app. So when we get a sale, it will come through to an app. They've got a commerce app specifically on my phone. It will tell me who's ordered, where they live, their details, emails, and that sort of thing. So when I come around to delivery day, I just look at the app and I've got a list of the 10 people I'm delivering to, and it's got maps on there, so it makes it really simple with the commerce app.
That sounds really useful, because obviously the logistics within this obviously have a big bearing on how easy and how successful it is when you move stuff online, doesn't it? On the social media side of things, you've mentioned about your use of Instagram, not so much Facebook or Twitter. So again, what's the thinking process for you in preferentially pushing stuff through Instagram?
Yeah, I think it's probably a personal preference, if I'm honest. People say a lot of things. For me, Twitter, I have to fact check everything I read. And they say a lot of things, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to believe sometimes. So Instagram, for me, I like to see something happening, and it inspires me. So, our real ethos is to inspire others to do their something good. So I think it's easier with pictures and videos. For us, we do share everything we have on Instagram, gets kind of copied straight onto Facebook. So we do have a Facebook, and we use that if we're doing a crowdfunder. We find a lot of the older followers for us are all on Facebook. So yeah, Facebook is useful still.
You're finding that there's different audiences attached to different channels, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Put in a question here. I missed at what point he put this up, so I'm not sure when he says about doing something similar, whether that's your ethos or the truffle bar, but specifically he's after a discussion. So what's the best way for people to get hold of you if they want to discuss anything further with you?
Through our website, so we dosomethinggood.co.uk. There's a contact page on there, and you can email me, or through Instagram on Summit Good. I'm always on there. I'm trying not to be, but you can you can get me on there.
Geraint has picked up. Yeah, it could be worthwhile. You've mentioned a little bit in different places about the income streams, but maybe it needs sort of coalescing a little bit more. So Geraint is asking, where's the income stream coming from? Obviously, Summit Good, as you describe it, is a fruit bowl of many, many different things. So where's the income that's driving this?
My wife's job is a simple answer. No, I'm joking. I'm not joking. Basically, I gave myself kind of 2 years to set it up and to kind of get myself an income. But if I'm honest, right now, our main income is through my wife's work, and we just try and live really simply. So we do the veg bags, and that makes a little bit of money for myself, and it means I can use the food. So I haven't bought food for about a year and a half, so I can pay for food through there, and a few other things. So like we try and keep our costs super low. So when we set the truffle bar up, actually a friend of ours rented out, or he just gave us a space in their gym, so we had no overheads of rent. The field that we lease now is really, really cheap, and with incorporating other businesses, it doesn't actually cost me anything. So it's just trying to keep my overheads super low. And we have been lucky. We've got some funding, like an awards for all package for when we set up the men's shed, and we've got some funding through Unlimited, and we did a bit of crowdfunding for the truffle bar. So yeah, right now the first couple of years is going to be grants and funding.
By the way, Josh, could you tell us who the gorgeous chap here is?
Who? Which? Oh,
I'm sorry, I'm pointing at the pig.
Chat screen over him. So this is Gary. He's incorporated onto our farm, so he works in the rotation. He chews up the land and all the roots, and we have a pumpkin patch which follows him. So every year he'll be in one section. The next year there'll be a pumpkin patch after him, and he's actually draws way more people to the farm since I got him. So lots of people come down and they want to see him and feed him, and they don't want to see me. So he's the main attraction.
And for people who don't know, you grow the beans there that go in the truffle bars, don't you?
Yeah, Belotti beans.
Right, that's fab. Thank you so much, Josh. That's really interesting. Thank you. So maybe we should go quickly to David now. So David Ellesmere is from Superfast Business Wales. Are you there, David?
I'm here. Hi, how are you?
Hi there. Fine, thank you. Could you tell us a bit about how Superfast can help social businesses if they want to find out any more or do any courses?
I can do that. Firstly, listening to the people that have been speaking, because they're all doing the right things. So that's the starting point. Listen to others that are similar to you and doing things out there. As Elizabeth said, we're part of Business Wales. We've been through a similar journey, converting our 20 or so workshops a month into physical workshops a month, into 30 or so webinars a month. So we are now running a whole range of webinars. I think we've got 10 at the moment, covering all the sorts of things you've been talking about here today. So using social media, running your business online, cybersecurity, what payment system to use. All of the workshops are 2 hours. They're open to anybody at the moment because they're online. It's dead easy. You just register on the link on the screen there now. All of the webinars are live. They all have a chat facility. We restrict numbers to about 40 thereabouts, so they can still be interactive. So it's not just somebody talking at you. We're trying to maintain that interactivity. We also run about 7 or 8 taster sessions. They're only 30 minutes. Again, they're all live, and they're pretty much what it says in the tin. They're just high-level taster sessions about things you should be thinking about if you're moving online, or if you've changed how you work online. If you are an eligible business, that is a Welsh-based trading business, no matter how you're set up, and you haven't been through the programme before, you also have access to a virtual one-to-one support, a couple of hours with a business advisor, and we also do a free website review, which is like a traffic light system. That's how it works. In terms of things we've learned ourselves, and also talking to our clients that have moved online, are the things to think about. I think the starting point is, don't try on what you did do in the physical world online. It is different. Your processes need to change. You need to think about the customer journey. A number of you have spoken about how that works on your website, but it's also your back office functions. We're still learning, as somebody else says. You know, we were still trying to do the processes. We did it before, and it doesn't work. People expect things much faster, much slicker online. They really do. You made the point earlier about if you want to buy something, you don't want to be emailed. You just want to buy it there and then. You don't want any sort of anything to get in the way. Big point to look out for at the moment is cybersecurity, data security. A lot of people's businesses are still using either free versions of websites, so free versions of Zoom, free versions of Dropbox and things like that. So you do need to be aware of where that data is being stored, because it's not always in the GDPR compliant. You need to think about whatever platform you're using, how secure is that information? Again, if you're using free versions, you might want to start doing a bit more research. If you've got people that were working in offices that are now working at home, you do need to have some data protocols in place, thinking about how that works, making sure passwords are very strong, and they're not using the same passwords for their personal emails as they do for work emails and things like that. Simple things, but it's stuff we've all moved so quickly to working from home, perhaps people haven't started thinking about these. The cyber criminals are using this as a huge opportunity. There are lots and lots and lots of scams going on at the moment. The latest one, as you can imagine, is emails and things doing the rounds about track and trace. So don't click on anything, because they're not going to send you an email, honestly. So it's just things to be thinking about. Other things, social media, the social bit means it's two-way. Don't just shout about your business. Use it to have conversations with your clients. Also, we talk a lot in our workshops about social listening. Use it to do your research. What are other people saying? What are people saying they want to buy? What are people that I think are really good in this environment doing? So social media is there as a two-way process, not just going, I'm here, buy my product. In fact, probably
That's a great point, yeah.
It's about, as all the other speakers have said, about building a brand, and that's what social media can do for you. And the advantage that you've all got is you're not Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, no matter how hard they try, can't be personal on Twitter. You guys can. You know, you can put a brilliant picture of a pig. You can put your picture of your dog up. You know, you've got that real personal interaction. And I think increasingly people buy from people that they buy into that brand and that concept. The other thing about social media is there are scheduling tools out there. You don't have to do it all live. You can sit one evening and schedule your posts for the week or the month, you know, so you can save time doing those sorts of things. I think the last one I wrote down was about telling a story, which is what all the previous speakers have done. And that's what social media can do, really tell your story. They're just some of the things I've thought of. I'm sure there's loads more.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, David. Yeah, I mean, I certainly picked up on the authenticity and the keeping it simple stuff as well. And I think you mentioned it, but your short courses, we've got a link here on our next screen to your short courses, and I've done one of them as well. So if anyone just wants a really quick overview of bolting on like an e-commerce bit, or like David said, the security, there's 30-minute ones there. That was really helpful as a starting point if you want that quick overview before you go ahead and do something or take it to the board or something like that. Okay, maybe we're almost done. We've got a bit of a surprise activity at the end. Just wanted to point out some help if you want to get in touch with us, any queries for clients. You can see there the SBW email address down there. We'd just like to do a quick poll, if that's okay. Carl's going to try and launch our poll to just ask how you're feeling now. If you could try and fill that in when it comes up. And I'm going to, while he's doing that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Just while people are doing that, we did have a question come up from Alex about WooCommerce, and we never really got the chance to explore that. Just quickly, David, if people have a query over e-commerce platforms, I'm assuming Superfast Broadband would be able to actually address some of those questions.
Yeah, we run a taster about taking payments online, which covers the major ones that are going on out there. But yeah, if you access the program in the one-to-one support section, they can certainly help you decide which one to use. As ever with these questions, the answer is always, it depends, because it depends what you want to do, your growth plans, where you're starting. So there is no right or wrong answer for any particular person. And was picked up about the Squarespace, which is probably one of the most common ones at the moment. It's what you get on with. It really is. It's what you like to do. And most of them have free trial periods, so go try. Go and play for 30 days or whatever it is they offer you.
Okay, that's great. Thanks. Right. So before I just want to say thanks so much to everyone for joining in. Thanks to all the participants, and thanks to all of you for giving your time today, and all the helpers, Carl and Dave and Ben. Just going to hand you over now to Jamie from Avant Cymru. I hope you'll go along with this, because we've never tried anything like this before. Jamie, could you just tell us about what Avant Cymru normally do?
Yeah, so Avant Cymru are a disability-led theatre and hip-hop theatre and breakdancing company. And I have ADHD, dyspraxia, dyslexia, and depression. So it's all good. I am the head of Grounded Wales, and we teach classes to kids from all age groups and from disability. So, for example, we use these little cards here, just to show them up. And no, that's not photoshopped. And we have a list of moves that they learn, for example. So I'm going to do my best to teach you one of the moves that isn't on the card, but it's one of our little basic moves that we start with.
So you've started doing all your classes online now, yeah? Through Zoom
all
or
our
something?
classes are done through Zoom and Instagram and wherever it's safest to have the kids. Normally it's Zoom for cybersecurity, because if they're on Instagram and everything else, it can get a bit not so nice, and people have more power there to post. Whereas Zoom, a lot more, you have to give people permission to come in and all of that. So it's a lot safer for them. Normally we would do it inside of the Cummer Club here in Porth, but unfortunately the pubs are shut. I know most men in this chat will be very sad at that thing and thinking when they can go back to it, but that's another story. So what we've decided and what we've done is turned our kitchen into a almost like 70s, 80s kids in the streets, lino dance studio.
Yeah.
It's the best we can do. So we have just enough room for us to do some stuff.
Okay. Wow.
You need to, and do all of that stuff. I'm going to teach you something which I'm pretty sure everyone knows. So if you have room to stand up, or if you want to just do it with your feet under the table, we're just going to have a go at these basic moves, which actually add into most of the stuff that we would do in breaking. So if you find a space where you can stand and move around, if you don't want to do it sat down, you can do it sat down, however you want to do it. So we're going to do a basic thing, which most people do in clubs, is just right, left. Simple, just a nice little easy. Just a nice simple two-step. Nothing too scary. Everyone does this. You can do this sat down, just moving your feet. And then we're just going to step forwards like we're walking back and forth. Nice and easy. Everyone's keeping about. No challenges, no scary little, just nice and easy, nice and comfortable. All right, now we're going to step out to the side. Boom. Da, da, da. So we're just taking our leg away from us now. That's it. That's pretty easy. You know, you're learning breakdancing, and all you have to do is just step and now step backwards. Pretty simple, right? No complications. Now we're going to step across. There, there. So these little steps, when we're doing our breakdancing stuff, are actually what makes up our top rocking. So all I needed to do to this to take it to the next stage is add a little hop. Just that simple. So this little step we call the Indian step. It's one of the original top rock moves that we learned. And you can do many different variations. So from this one little two-step that we've got going here, we can change it into this. It can change into this. It can go anywhere. Just from that little two-step that we learned. So that's the first, whenever I start a class, that little two-step is always how I start, just to take the kids back down to basics. And remember, once you understand how you move, you can learn anything. You can achieve anything. Great. Anything you want is achievable, and there's nothing holding you back. The only barrier you have is your mentality of not wanting to do it. All of you have done better than my first breakdancing class. My first class, my teacher still mocks me today because of my dyspraxia. I couldn't go from here to here. That's how bad my dyspraxia was. Now, most people are scratching their heads like, but that's really simple. But for me, that was impossible to begin with. And I tell this story every time I'm teaching, when the kids get like flustered because they can't figure something out. I'm like, you've already beat me. For my first class, you're already a mile ahead of me. So keep thinking your progression route. If I've got to this stage, your progression isn't to get to where I am, it's to get further than I am. You should be able to beat me and get further than what I am. And I've been very blessed with the kids that I've got, and can proudly say that some of them have managed to go and perform at the Millennium Centre down in Cardiff. They are doing an international TV film festival, because they did a piece which was basically, it's a family of four, and it's a family that dances together, stays together. And they wanted to show their love for breakdancing and how hip-hop's made them closer than they were beforehand.
Wow, so, that's amazing. Thank you.
I just saw a message come up. Who can access this? Anyone. Our breakdancing classes are open to
let's all give them
everyone. We have 2 set groups for kids, and we have a set for adults who can come in, learn, or just have fun. And they're all based around mental health. So they're all about making mental health better, because breakdancing is what saved my life. So I want to help pass that on to someone else to see if it can help them the same way it helped me.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, Jamie. Really appreciate that. Thank you for taking the plunge and trying to do that for us. And thanks for the inspirational speech there. You really have, I'm sure, inspired a lot of people there. Thanks for everyone for joining. Really appreciate your time. And I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks all. Bye.
Everybody. Cheers.
Bye.